The following podcast is an enticing media production.
Where the Nell have you been? Join us for conversation about life, business, and everything in between. Welcome to What the Nell, where we've got stories to tell. Here's your host, Nell Tice.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the What the Nell podcast with yours truly, Nell Tice. We're already off to a great start here. It's Friday.
We might as well be drinking bourbon.
I know, exactly. So if you can't tell already by that voice, you've probably heard on Schiffbauer Over Rocks podcast. My guest today is Paul Schiffbauer, and he's a multifaceted entrepreneur, I guess you could say. Paul did develop a passion for small business early on in his life while studying at York College of Pennsylvania. But he did grow up around his father's tavern, so I do also have a feeling that had a bit to do with it. But he would eventually go on to start his own business in the home furnishings industry. The startup company Noir Gallery grew from a single online store to a multi-channel retailer in under 1 year, selling products to industry-leading e-commerce properties, including Wayfair and Home Depot. In 2018, Paul decided to get back to his roots and work with small business owners to transform their own businesses. Most recently, in 2024, Paul found himself being on Central Penn Business Journal's Power 100 list, which is a group composed of the area's 100 most significant and influential and respected leaders, as well as behind-the-scenes change makers. Welcome, Paul, to the podcast.
Woo, Nell, it's a pleasure to be on your show today.
Thank you so much. So, Paul, I mentioned before we started recording, it's Friday. I feel like we should be sharing cigars and bourbon. Can you tell me, what have you got in your hand right now?
I have a 15-year-old Dominican cigar from Casta Cigars.
Beautiful.
So it is one of a kind. Well, they're all one of a kind, Nell, to be honest here.
Of
So
course,
that's a shameless
they are.
plug for my favorite cigar shop.
Love it. And where is Casta Cigars located?
They are located in downtown York, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I love it. So I've heard a lot about York recently and how it's very up and coming. And a lot of new stuff is popping up. So definitely worth the trip down there if you are not from the area. And if you are, get there. So
I love York. It's great.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I've been spending a lot of time in Lancaster recently and getting to know Lancaster. Also love Lancaster. I think central Pennsylvania is an amazing place to live.
Yeah. You see these lists all the time, like USA Today, like top places to retire. And you see people like clown it on Facebook, but it's true. Like York, Lancaster, and Central PA in general, they are very nice places to not just retire, but to like live, start a family, build a business.
Absolutely. I mean, we're within 3 hours of like 5 major metropolitan cities. So what more could you possibly want? And it's kind of quiet. It's nice. There's a lot of greenery and yeah, it's a beautiful place to raise a family too. So absolutely love it. All right, Paul. So tell us about your consulting group. How did you get here? Tell us also the why behind what you're doing. You went from home furnishings to consulting and helping small businesses. Why?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird transition. It's kind of full circle too now. I remember I got bought out by my former business partner in 2018. And at the time, we were talking to bigger marketing agencies to how to like best position this like business like online from an e-commerce standpoint. They're like, oh, you need SEO. Oh, you need paid ads. Oh, you need a $10,000 budget. It was just a little overwhelming at the time. This is like 2 guys running this business. And then me and my former business partner, we just saw the business at a crossroads, different visions. I'm like, hey, I'm going to tap out. We had a good run. Some relationships end. So he bought me out. And I say full circle because ironically, now I have a full essentially suite like marketing consultancy that specializes in paid ads. We do sites, we do SEO. So it's really ironic where when I left my former business, I'm doing it now for other folks.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. So your passion for small business is infectious. I also have a passion for small businesses. That's who I work with, small to medium-sized businesses. And I love every single thing that happens, every win, every might be seen as a failure is something to feel and learn from, grow from, and celebrate if it's a win. And that's what I love about it so much. But, small businesses, especially sometimes, especially when you've got an entrepreneur that's brand new, not sure what to do, where do you even start, especially in marketing? What are some strategies or tips that you can give to a small business owner as far as starting out in marketing?
So starting off in marketing as a small business owner, it's lean into the people you know. And going deeper with that, it's the people who, could use your product or services.
Yeah.
It was really funny now. I was a guest recently on another podcast, and this gentleman, Charlie Anderson, who has his own podcast,
Yeah,
Champions
I
of
know
Small
Charlie.
Business.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I
Yeah,
really
he is.
enjoyed meeting up with him, but he threw me a zinger, which is going to answer your question. He's like, if you had to start a business from scratch, how are you going to get the word out? And I told
Mm.
him, one, I would have some kind of an event, which is ironic because it's just like I do digital marketing primarily for folks. But no, we're going to have an event. You're going to have your first and second degree network there, people who could be, your potential customers, clients, or champions or cheerleaders, I like to call them,
Yeah.
of your products or services to get the word out there and build a rapport, build your brand up a little bit, get the word out. And then kind of going deeper with that, it's this use the low hanging fruit that you have. It's this create a free Facebook page, get a Google My Business listing to start ranking organically. You don't necessarily need a $10,000 website, but you should have something. There's a
Yes.
lot of options that are, really cost friendly where it can just get you to, through year one, year two, where like before you like, hey, I might be tapped out with what I got and my expertise before you reach out to somebody like us at Schiffbauer Consulting Group. It's the biggest thing. It's just use the tools and mediums available to you for free and just do it somewhat consistently. So you don't have to do all of it in terms of the toolbox. That's another thing too.
Yes.
So it's just like if your customers are more native to Facebook than TikTok, don't even mess around with TikTok.
Yeah.
You're a small business owner. You can't be spending time trying to figure something out if you're not going to do one consistently or two. If your audience isn't there, why do it? It doesn't make
Exactly.
sense. You got to do the small stuff that makes sense for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. And speaking of TikTok, obviously that's a video platform as well as Reels and Instagram, Shorts on YouTube, all the things. I know that's something that we're both pretty passionate about is
Mm-hmm.
video marketing. And you're absolutely right. You don't need to be doing everything, especially in year one and year two as a small business owner. But one of those things that if you are going to utilize social media platforms, you need to be utilizing video. And I think you would agree.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Or beat me to
absolutely.
it. And it's people they get a little scared. There's a time and place to professionally invest in video. But if you're starting off, if you got a phone
Exactly.
with a decent camera, start taking videos of what you do. You don't have to necessarily get on camera yet,
Mhm.
but show off what you do because I tell folks, regardless of industry, typically video outperforms any kind of static or like graphic based
Mhm.
content on social media.
Yeah.
Like in terms of engagement, in terms of interaction, video is going to like make you stand out in some capacity or another.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, it's the next best thing to being in person. And it's the age-old saying, people do business with people they like, know, and trust. And
Mhm.
when they can see you, they can see your mannerisms, they can get a lot out of your personality just from seeing you on video. And no, but you're absolutely right. You don't even have to be in front of the camera at first. You could, the faceless accounts, my gosh. I mean, you're reaching people, you're reaching the right people. That's the important part. But as far as, yeah, I agree. Investing in professional video is something that can be done down the line. But what would be some tips that you would offer as far as getting started in video marketing on social media?
Tips I would give to folks listening out there is it kind of ties into like, let's say you're starting this business again. You're telling your businesses or your brand story. So if you're doing video marketing, how can you channel that brand story of who you are? So let's say you're Rick who owns a junk removal company.
Mhm.
What makes your junk removal company unique? Are you like fun and quirky? Put that into your video content. Showcase your services in that light where each video that you put out should build upon the next, essentially, where like it kind of makes sense as you're rolling out the video content or just any content for that matter, where it's like a page of like a book at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so often so much back and forth on, oh, should I be professional on my business page? Should I leave my personal page for the real fun, quirky me? The truth is that if you are not authentically you, and I know we throw that term around so much now, if you're
Oh yeah,
not,
it's the most overused word in the dictionary right now.
absolutely. I think it actually was like the word of 2023 by
Authenticity.
Yes, by some sort of publication. I'm not sure which, but how do you feel about that? I mean, obviously you have to infuse your personality in your business, but are there certain things that you think should be left to a professional page versus personal and vice versa?
Yes and no. No. I would like to say it's what your audience wants. So if you're a little more down home, put that on your professional pages. If that's your audience. Why be straight laced or like play to a certain profile or, overly professional, like an old school fashion if that's not your audience? That's not necessarily going to resonate with them. They might like quirky dad jokes and seeing that, weekly on like Fridays, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. The dad jokes are definitely a Friday thing for sure.
Oh yeah, I have a gentleman, Jim Rafferty, that I know, older guy. He every Friday on Facebook, like clockwork, and this is his personal Facebook, but he uses this for business. Every Friday morning, he has a dad joke and like a little banner. It's consistent and it's so freaking funny, where like people look forward to it,
Yeah.
and then like people come up to a networking event saying like that one cracked me up last week. So that's like a
Yeah.
part of his brand now, like his like personal brand. That's an extension of it, like his
Yeah.
service-based business.
That's amazing. I love that. I actually used to do dad jokes. It was like I was posting 3 times a day on Facebook, and my middle of the afternoon post was always a dad joke. And it was something that I used at my old job when I was trying to build morale and culture within the company. And so one day I just like would tell everybody a dad joke and I just lightened the mood a little bit, you know? And so I kind of kept that going. People loved it and they also hated it. There was no in between.
Everyone doesn't have to like you. And I think
Right.
that's a really important thing business owners have to realize, where you just got to really engage and interact with truly your audience, your
Yeah.
customers, and people who are going to refer and like do business with you.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
saw a study now recently. It was like just a general like one of these like psychology like base studies, and they said hypothetically, if you're a person who lives by textbook good moral ethical standards, there will be 20% of people you meet in your life who are still not going to like you for whatever reason. It's just because of, hey, why is that guy smiling all the time, or hey, why is this guy getting these awards? It's 80-20, where people got to get through their head, where you just got to make the right impressions with the right people at the end of the
Yes,
day.
it's so, so true. Absolutely. I just ran across a situation the other day. Similarly, it's not that it was somebody reacting to me in a way that would make me think they didn't like me, but it just wasn't the right person. And that's the key to understanding why maybe you're not getting the business or something's not connecting for you. It's not, you can't force it either, but it's just not happening because it's not supposed to. And not everybody is supposed to like you. And I do think that is really, truly one of the biggest things that business owners do need to get over. You know what? You need haters. You have to get haters. If you don't have haters, you're
I
not
love the
successful.
haters.
Absolutely.
And usually they don't necessarily throw themselves out there, but it is what it is. It should come with the territory, whatever you're doing. As long as you're doing what you want to do to accomplish your goals and get around the right people that you want to be around with at the end of the day, who cares?
Exactly. I love that. Okay. So, in terms of video, what are you doing? Like, what are you using for editing? And like, tell me all the things. Like, what are you using for like equipment and things like that?
Oh, it's funny. I got my brother Matthew off camera right here. He's my go-to guy behind the scenes for any of like my video content primarily.
Love it.
So, I mean, editing. Oh, you're using Final Cut Pro, Matthew. I'm talking off
Yes.
camera for people listening out there, which is hilarious. You got
Yeah.
a Canon GoPro in terms of equipment. We're
Yeah.
using different lighting sets. It's just enough for what we do in terms of like our production style. We're
Yeah.
not doing full studio
Mhm.
level shoots.
Yeah.
It's very like, okay, we're going to take the shoot to you.
Mhm.
Let's capture it.
Mhm.
I tell folks now, typically, majority of the time when Matthew and I will do a video for a client, I say, hey, they're like, do we need a script? I'm like, we're not writing a script.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, I say that. They're like, what? Like, I thought we'll need like a script to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, scripts are for like paid actors. If we try to get you to memorize lines and even have cue cards,
Yes.
you're going to look like so unauthentic on camera,
Mhm.
where people are like, is this real? Is this guy, like really believing what he's doing? Is it like,
Yeah.
it's going to look like yuck on
Yeah.
camera.
Did they hire him to speak for the company on their
Yeah,
behalf? Yeah.
it's just going to look like a mess.
I agree.
So our process with folks, typically, whatever the project is, we tailor questions that we're going to ask on camera, either to, the owner, if he's on camera, or key employees, or whoever like the stand-in might be,
Mhm.
where it looks like it's a conversation. We're off camera asking the questions. They're doing different takes, and then we're editing it together. Where when you watch these videos, you got guys who haven't even graduated high school, but own these waterproofing businesses. They're coming off smooth and slick because they're
Yeah.
talking about what they do as if, you're one of their customers.
Yeah.
Try to frame it in that way rather than trying to like over project who they are with like
Yeah.
a formal script.
Yeah,
And so-
I completely agree. Fabricating something that people should say on camera. I mean, the camera doesn't lie. There are two things that don't lie in this world: microphones and cameras. And that will come through 100% if they're reading from a script. And that's how we operate in our
Mhm.
business too. And people have asked me that. They'll say, "Oh, I need a script and we have to hire a scriptwriter." I'm like, "No, we're not doing that." We are not doing that because you aren't going to come across as the expert in what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, at that point, and it's going to come off so rigid because they're never going to talk to a customer like that if it's scripted in a professional manner.
Absolutely.
I will
100%.
say though, now with video, it could lie at this point with AI. I joke if I ever
Oh,
have if I ever have a scandal, I'm just going to tell folks that was an AI generated video or clip of me. Well, it was not me you saw at the bar out.
it's so true. You're absolutely correct. And it's funny. I'm just, I talked about this on a podcast actually recently. And I was a guest and we were talking about video and being ourselves on camera. And I said, with the invention of AI and all of the things that you could do and train and the avatars and everything like that, I said, you can do all of that. But AI is still not capable of capturing who you are.
It's not. And
It's not.
even like the average Joe who doesn't normally like are around video or around like making content like you and I, they're starting to spot it too. Where like it screams that someone's using AI generated video. Like you can just tell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you've ever seen the missing button on a shirt, or like the shirt's like two
The
different
six
lengths.
finger like right on someone's hand.
Yeah. That's AI. So not worried about it. It's not you and it never will be. And I'm pretty excited about that and stoked for the future. But Paul, I know I want to respect your time today. And I know
Oh,
I
we got a
did.
couple more minutes.
We do. But, one of my favorite parts and one of my favorite traditions here at the What the Now podcast is understanding that, especially as entrepreneurs, it's all about business all the time. It's important to remember that we shouldn't take ourselves so seriously. So
Oh, absolutely.
I like to ask the guest at the end of every episode, do you have a What the Nell story to share with us? Something that can be on topic, not on topic, anything quirky to leave the listener or viewer thinking, what the Nell just happened here?
Oh my goodness. I have heard a few of yours. They're good. So I'm thinking like I gotta top this now.
Oh man. I mean, don't think of it like a competition.
Yeah, no.
Think of it like I got something really cool to share that people will want to hear.
Oh, man, I'm an ordained minister, believe it or not.
No, are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious.
That's amazing. I love it. I just
I've
wouldn't have
never,
I never would have thought that.
I about to say I should have done a two truths and a lie. Like I'm this, I'm that. I'm not this. Wait, what?
That'd be fun.
But yeah, no, I've never like baptized anyone yet. I may marry someone coming up.
Okay.
But
So
if you know me, you would never think that because I'm always in bars. I'm a bar fly by trade. One with networking, and two, I grew up on a bar, so I'm always comfortable in those kind of environments.
I get that. But I mean, a lot of people in ministry are also very comfortable in bars.
Yeah, which is almost like a paradox. Like
Mhm.
I was talking to the cigar shop owner the other week here. He told me a story about this lounge he used to go to where they had cigars. And this minister would come in, and this minister was married, would drink like a fish, would cheat on his wife religiously, which is
Mhm.
ironic. And then he would go preaching to a choir. It's just like, you're supposed to be an example for a congregation, and you're living like an absolute heathen.
That's really hysterical. I mean, I guess it's a testament to, just, I don't know. There's all types of people in all types of industries everywhere, and nothing is real. Everything is fake. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, that's, Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a minister or anybody in the religious sector going into a bar and having a drink or anything like that. In fact, my husband has a podcast with his co-host is a youth minister, and they have a drink every time they host an episode. And I mean, it's a very social part too of connecting and fellowship.
Yeah, it's a great point. I never thought of it like that, Nell.
Yeah.
Fellowship. I'm gonna start using fellowship more in my day to day.
You have
Why don't
to.
we meet up and like indulge in some fellowship?
Yes. I mean, it puts a spin on it. It's all about, it's all about presentation. When something gets burned in the oven, it's not burned, it's charred. Okay.
Char- Words have meaning, and biggest thing. This is my marketing nerd coming out. It's just like, how do you put like certain words in? Because like I always when I talk brainstorming with clients, it's just like we have high quality. Fuck off. I'm gonna say it. Like everyone says they have high quality. Like I tell folks, what do you do that's different? Let's use a different word.
Yeah.
It's just like we are the only such and such doing this in the marketplace. Well, great. Say that.
Yeah.
Like, let's actually use your brain and think about what makes you unique.
Yeah.
Because I'm cynical. When you're doing marketing for years, you get a little jaded, right or wrong, folks.
Yeah.
But I just tell folks sometimes when we do a lot of paid advertising work
Mhm.
for our clients, and I tell them, I'm like, wonder why your lead costs or your industries are so high, because you all tell people, you and your competitors, that you do the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, uniqueness to your business at all unless you really working on that messaging and channel it into your content to tell
Yes.
that brand story.
Absolutely. Words to live by. Paul, this has been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so thrilled that you've taken the time today to be with us here on the podcast. Please tell people, where can they find you and connect with you and get in touch with you?
So people can find me. I mean, my handles, pretty much my professional handles are on my personal handles at this point now.
Mhm.
It's Young Marketer, YUNG, like Southern rapper, like of the early 2000s. There were a lot of Youngs back
Yes.
then.
Yeah.
Schiffbauer Consulting Group.com, Schiffbauer Over Rocks, or SCGTV. That's like an acronym I have for like any video content we put out like on YouTube.
Mhm.
And then White Rose Steak Nights. I'm there almost every Monday night for $12.95 steak and fries. It is, if you want to like indulge in some fellowship, folks, reach out to me. All right. We can talk marketing, business opportunities, the whole nine.
I love it. Make sure you get out, join Paul for $12.95 steak and fellowship on Monday nights. So amazing. Thank you so much, Paul, for being on this episode today. So appreciate it. And of course, the listeners, viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are on YouTube, we are in full video mode now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. And if you're listening on the audio platforms, leave us a review. That's how we grow here at the What the Nell podcast. And thanks for listening again. And as always, I will catch you on the next one.
To learn more about how to tell your story, connect with Nell at enticingmedia.com. That's ENTICEING media.com. Thanks for listening to the What the Nell podcast.